sorry, Aerith.
I'm sorry for saying you needed therapy.
Well, let's be honest, after Aerith's dream sequence and rebirth, where the NPCs were saying that her and Cloud had no chemistry, to the hand-holding sequence at the end of chapter 14 that allegedly is more romantic than a kiss, the Midgard 7th High Ever Crisis event really brought things back into perspective for me. The main characters were me as the student teacher, Tifa, Barret, otherwise known as Mr. B, Cloud, Zack, and Aerith. And Barret, as Mr. B, is the faculty leader. He is also a professor there at Midgar High, and as one can expect, he is just as passionate about baseball as he is about being the leader of an eco-terrorist group in Final Fantasy VII. He used to be a fighter in his day, but he is very passionate about baseball and insists that everyone come together at the high school and forms a team to take them to nationals and beat Shinra Academy and be the best baseball team that there is. So that's his goal in this story, apart from, breaking up any lollygagging that he sees, any dilly-dallying, if you will. Now Tifa, as one might expect, is the goody two-shoes of the story, and she is the student council president. Why is it that we're always crushing on the student council presidents, or at least I am, right? And there were certain moments in the dialogue where the point of view reminded me of a dating sim game, like especially one that I was playing earlier, for instance, but it was short-lived for me because, of course, Tifa starts talking about Cloud and their childhood, but she really is someone who is always looking out for Cloud, just like in Final Fantasy VII, and they were, surprise, surprise, childhood friends for the longest time. And recently, and now that they're in high school, things have gotten a bit awkward, but she doesn't quite understand why, and she tries to enlist the teacher's help to make Cloud snap out of whatever he's going through and just be better, stop fighting and all that, because of course he wants to prove himself. Why? Well, we'll get to that in a second. We also, of course, in the living, have Zack, who is the resident heartthrob / student who was held back because he didn't pay enough attention to his studies and was always fighting, and he became Brawler First Class, right? First Class, a reference to his soldier first class status in the game. He's the best of the best there is in that sense, so Cloud really looks up to him. He's also, surprise, surprise, childhood friends with Aerith since elementary school. So he really knows her well, and he wants people to see that there is another side to her. Now, the real treat in this scenario is, of course, Aerith, or Big Bad Aerith, as she's known, with the pretty emerald eyes. She has a flower bed that she secretly takes care of, and Zack really wants her to just give in and let everyone know that she's a caring girl who, loves taking care of flowers, but of course Aerith thinks that's lame and wants to project that image of a baddie, of someone who's tough and that isn't weak, even though deep inside she's a lonely girl. Just like in the original game, she had a lonely upbringing as the last of the Cetra, the last of her race, so understandably so, there would naturally be some type of wall around her heart. I mean, not so much in Final Fantasy VII because she's a very outgoing character there, but in this, I feel like we put more emphasis on her lonely upbringing, so she kind of went in a different direction in this world. Whereas in Final Fantasy VII, she's super cheerful. In this one, she's, again, putting on this facade. And of course, Zack is the only one that sees through it, which I love. So he's like, Aerith, quit the act. And they're kind of going at it with each other. She wants to, at one point, she wants to fight him, and she wants to be like the number one fighter there. But of course, Zack is the best, so it's Aerith is second best, naturally. Oh, of course, I can't forget about Cloud. He's the resident weirdo / loner that always wants to get into fights, or at least swing around a bat like he's practicing his fighting moves. And, the origin of that is funny because it echoes, or it reflects, again, the original game. Cloud used to feel like he was so much better than the other boys that would surround Tifa. And, one day she went up Mount Nebel and he followed her. He was the only one that did and tried to stop her from going. Yet it was too late. She fell. Then he was ostracized even more in the village, and he pretty much blamed himself for Tifa's fall. In this universe, one day Cloud and Tifa are hanging out by a river, and this group of thugs approaches them, and Cloud defends them both. He manages to fight them off, but he is roughed up a bit. And then, hope of hopes, Zack appears. Zack appears and, helps Cloud fight them off. So ever since that day, Cloud holds a torch for Zack, and then in the sense of, in this universe, because Sephiroth is not older than Cloud, he's part of another high school. Zack is the figure that Cloud aspires to be like, in Final Fantasy VII, it's Sephiroth. Sephiroth is the hero. And don't get me wrong, Cloud, obviously, as a Shinra trooper, he looked up to his friend Zack too. But in this universe, Zack is definitely his inspiration. Cloud definitely wants to prove that he is not someone to be messed with, and he wants to prove that fact to Tifa specifically, and she even says it, that he wanted to do it all for her. And there's even a portion where he fights Zack, and he almost wins, but not quite. He still has a way to go until he's stronger than Zack, but he puts up a very good fight. So it goes to show you that in a universe where Cloud doesn't have to fight Sephiroth to defeat Sephiroth, he's still naturally gifted. He's naturally gifted at baseball in this universe, but because he doesn't have Sephiroth to defeat, he'll never surpass Zack. It's interesting because we can say that he surpassed Zack in Final Fantasy VII. A lot of people would say Cloud is now stronger than Zack after, Zack dies. It is an interesting debate. Yeah, I think that's the reason Cloud is able to surpass Zack. And without Sephiroth, in this universe, he cannot surpass Zack in the fighting sense. But he's close. He's close. Now, what about Cloud and Aerith's interactions? Well, as you can probably expect, basically a whole load of nothing in the romantic tension sense, right? She is an obstacle for him to beat because she is considered the best brawler second class. And then, of course, it's Zack. But that's all Cloud considers her, an obstacle to beat. There is no romantic tension. And, of course, he's all about Tifa. So it goes to show you that, again, in a world where Zack is alive, there is no notion of a quote-unquote love triangle. Aerith wouldn't be projecting missing Zack onto Cloud. As I've said in the past, this does lead me to believe that Aerith would benefit from therapy.
I'm sorry for saying you needed therapy.
Of course, this is a joke, but if she did live in the real world, maybe she could benefit from that. But because Zack is alive in this alternate universe, she's not going to look at Cloud the way she does in Final Fantasy VII, because he's not Zack and he can never be Zack. And so I think this shows when Zack is alive, there's just Zerith and Cloti. There cannot be any other dynamic, right? And it's funny because, I don't really like to use alternate universes or other games as proof, but Ever Crisis still connects to the compilation, and it still connects to the remake series. And although I don't really play Ever Crisis that much, this 7th High Academy was one event that I didn't want to miss just because it kind of gave me that high school shonen / shoujo feel. Maybe not so much shoujo, but very much a shonen high school kind of thing, kind of anime. So I really enjoyed it. It's about an hour. The event is over now, so you can't really play it, but you can certainly still enjoy the cutscenes. Yeah, so a doting Tifa who really just wants to be the goody two-shoes and do good for the class and keep Cloud in line, and the good-hearted Zack who really knows the true character of Aerith and, would do anything to stick by Aerith, but will also let her know when she's being a silly goose. Cloud who just wants to prove himself to Tifa in every universe, and Aerith who is extroverted in a more extreme sense. Aerith who wants to protect her heart, but stays blushing when it comes to Zack. And naturally, Barret, who is the leader of them all, who has a boisterous voice and the passion to match it. This is Midgar High, a microcosm of these same characters in Final Fantasy VII. And I do have to say, I enjoyed this event quite a bit. Thank you for watching. And as always, check out my other videos and like, comment, and subscribe. Did you enjoy the Midgar High Academy? Or did you get to play it? Let me know in the comments below. Tana Greek Nose out.